What's up, everyone? It's your host, Ghost, coming to you live with another amazing video. Uh, Sorry, I just got home, um, so I haven't really quite set up for everything quite yet, but I am getting there. Do apologize for yesterday. I woke up and I went to go do my show, but when I woke up, I felt like shit, and there was like I just couldn't do it, so I just canceled it and went back to bed. And I actually been feeling pretty shitty this entire day. So that's why both I didn't go live. And I forgot even to do my Twitter to announce it. Hold on. Yeah. There we go. All right. But yeah, I felt like really like crap. So so that's why I didn't end up doing my show yesterday. Okay, there it is. But yeah, so that's the explanation. I do apologize if anyone was hoping to see what I had. It wasn't really exciting news stuff I was going to cover yesterday. So, although I do feel bad about letting people down, at least it wasn't something that was like super important. It was just some random shit I was covering. All right, but today we should have some interesting topics for today. Today we're going to talk about the content creator. What does she call herself? What's her content creator? Okay, yeah, that's what she says. Content creator. Let's see, Amouranth. She does OnlyFans. Yes, I mean, yeah. She does basically a lot of sex work. She does Twitch, Twitter, but she mostly does a lot of sex work. If you don't remember her, God, when did she do that? She made this accusation that her husband was the one that was making her do OnlyFans and whatnot. And this was October 17th of 2022. She alleged that her husband was the one that was making her do all the OnlyFans and whatnot, and it was completely against her will and all that shit. And but then she continued to do it even after going against it, or after bringing it to light. So I mean, but apparently she says she has cancer. We'll to get into that. I have some opinions. It probably won't make me popular. I don't really care because I don't really care for Amouranth. Not that I got anything against her. I just don't care about her. If that makes any sense. Then we're going to talk about the totally legit, totally true totally legit, totally true Russian coup. That's totally a thing. We'll talk about that. And then we have some very interesting news from the Supreme Court on I guess ballistic evidence it's called. I think more commonplace it's known as bullet matching. We'll get into that. I actually am very interested in this topic more than the rest. So we'll save that for last. So, oh, sorry. Oh, okay. So, anyways, those are our topics for today. I might go into more if I got a little time. I am exhausted per usual. So yeah. All right. So let's get into the topic. We're going to talk about Amouranth. There you go. We're just going to go not news stories today. We're going to go via her Twitter. Okay, her Twitter. All right. So she posted this yesterday on Twitter. She says, I tend to keep my medical stuff private and would have kept my current situation out of the public eye, but I feel like I owe you all an explanation on account of few canceled high profile appearances. I was informed in March that I have late stage ovarian failure. Okay, maybe it's not cancer, it's failure. I could have sworn she said cancer at some point. Okay, well now apparently I was wrong. So let me just change that. I just skimmed it, so it wasn't. I guess I'll just say news. I'm just changing it now because if I don't do it now, I will forget. Even though now I obviously forgot to add that comma in there. I am special. All right. Okay. So now I got. Sorry, I got to change it because, although I am unprofessional, I would like to be a little professional. So let me just change this stuff a little bit and make it a little more professional. Change it to sort of cancer to news. I thought it said cancer. Maybe I just saw the ovarian part and I assumed cancer. I don't know. Probably. It's probably that. All right. There. I fixed it. Now I look less professional. Anyways. Yeah. Okay. So she continues. Beyond that, my body has been in menopause for some time. Over the last year, I've noticed a lot of confusing changes, mental and physical, that had no obvious explanations, but just kind of shrugged them off. I was completely unaware of anything serious until March. Since then, I have undergone many tests, diagnostics, procedures, and my doctors conclude that not only do I have these conditions, but that my case is accelerating as my hormones and other markers indicated are more advanced prognosis. I will be undergoing daily injections for 7 to 14 days, which I will potentially suffer from headaches, nausea, and aches, which would be no big deal, and was also warned against high impact physical activities. I found out that the seriousness of my diagnosis after I had already agreed to appear in the La Vida La boxing event and decided I would go forward with it and wait to do the injections until after the event so that I could still compete. But due to extreme medical developments, I have to start them today. I had hoped to just box through the symptoms as I could handle a little nausea and some headaches, but my medical team strenuously vetoed that decision due to the potential of extreme injury or death related to heightened chances of my ovarian torsion twisting while undergoing the treatment and doing extreme physical activities. I regretfully have to drop out of the La Vida La last minute. I'm incredibly upset about this and I'm sorry to let anyone down. I hope for a quick painless treatment. Maybe I can get the opportunity to get in the ring if everything goes well. All right. So that's the news. Again, I thought it was cancer when I first read it. Oh, what the fuck? All right. So yeah, that's the news. All right. I'm probably gonna sound like an asshole, but that's okay. Okay. I believe this as much as I believe her that her husband was the reason she got into doing OnlyFans and stuff. I mean, look, if this is all true, then I wish her the best of luck and wish her a speedy recovery. But this seems to be more than likely, in my opinion, a way to just increase more viewerships. Also, it's to me what she tried to say. Let's see. So another thing that caught my eye is over the last year. Now, if you notice anything over the last year, now what happened last year? Well, October 17, 2022, like I said, she basically accused her husband of being the reason that she does OnlyFans. Okay. So over the last year, I've noticed a lot of confusing changes, mental and physical, that had no obvious explanations, but just kind of shrug them off. Now, again, that's interesting because over the last year, what happened? She accused her husband of being the reason that she accusing her husband basically that she's that he's the reason that she started doing OnlyFans. And then even though she accused him of that, of being the reason, that has not stopped doing it since. I think that originally that original accusation was to garner more attention to her OnlyFans and whatnot for or Twitch and stuff to her sport, to get some support. I'm guessing that this is another attempt to garner sympathy and get some more support for her various contents, creations, whatever you want to call it. And if she ends up getting back with her husband, if they ever broke up or anything, then that would be the explanation. Oh, I was just dealing with the disease that made me very confused and upset my mental balance, whatever. I mean, that's what I think. I think for the most part, it's she's trying to, she's using this as as a way to garner sympathy and all that stuff. So that's why I think it's partly. And then if she ends up getting back with her husband, then obviously that's also a reason why. It's no, the only reason I accused him of these horrible things and then continued to do OnlyFans even though he wasn't there to make me do it anymore was because of this disease. I know I probably sound like a giant asshole, and that's okay. Like I said. So what I think. I mean, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. I'm sure. Unless you're like a hardcore Amouranth fan, I'm sure that you think the same thing about the whole husband accusation thing. So so if you think that, then what I'm proposing is probably not the biggest leap. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people think that, whether they voice it, whatever. I'm just a small, YouTuber at the moment. And I don't knack her at all. Like she's a really smart business person. I listen to like Nick Ricada. He talks about her and says like what she does to help with her tax burden and stuff because she makes like millions and stuff. And I think she's a very, or she okay. It's either she's a very intelligent businesswoman, or she has some very good people behind her that's giving her good advice. It's one of those two, but I'll give credit where it's due. I think she's a very intelligent businesswoman, and whatever you think about this, doing OnlyFans and all that stuff, I honestly could give two shits about. I don't really care how you make your money. Do you, boo? I really do not care. I mean, honestly, if I was a chick, probably do the same fucking thing. Not gonna lie. So I'm not knacking her for that. That's what I think is going on. And, it could come out, a week or so or a day or so later, she comes out and, oh, no, it's 100% true, blah, 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 blah. Then, then I'd be, wrong, and I'm allowed to be wrong. But that's what I think. I think it's just a way to garner sympathy. And then, again, if they get back, if her and her husband are, all of a sudden back together, then that's going to be the excuse why that she said those things. And the reasoning she said those things in the first place was to garner sympathy for her content creation. And that's why she hasn't stopped it, even though she kept saying she's going to stop it or scale it back or whatever. Anyways, my opinion. I may be wrong. I just may may be right as well. So, who knows? All right. So, the next thing is the coup, the Russian coup. This big, horrible, totally real, not fake at all coup. So there's this little thing called the Wagner group, or sorry, Wagner, probably pronounced Wagner in Russian. I believe they are. Just want to make sure I got it right. Yeah, so they're a mercenary group. They're a private military, paramilitary, whatever. If you've let's see, what is it? I think it's the Jack Carr series. They mention he has the Wagner group in it as an enemy of his main character Kyle Reese. I believe that's Jack Carr's series. So I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was fake. Like I didn't think this thing was real. Obviously, I didn't go and look it up because who's gonna look up? So I thought it was fake as fuck. Apparently, the Wagner group's real. Okay, cool. Shows what I know. Anyways, so their leader, yeah, their CEO, leader, whatever, Yevgeny Prigozhin. Let's see. Basically, he led a coup of 24 hours or something. I just don't really believe it. I think it's might been just like a because he was marching towards the city and then like turned around not long afterwards, and there's like some sort of like yeah, okay, so he has a problem with. It's hard to trust any sources, especially on the mainstream media. I don't really believe much of what they're talking about when it comes to Ukraine. So it's hard. So I'm just going to go off of The Guardian. I'm sure that's a totally reliable news source. But I guess Yevgeny, I'm going to say his first name because I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He has a problem with Sergei Shoigu, who's Russian's defense minister. He has a big problem with him. And then, sorry, just reading through this. And then he has a problem with, let's see. I don't know who the fuck is. Okay. Oh, he also has a problem with a guy named Gray Sovmov. So much so he wanted their removal or demanded their removal, and then he's threatened that if his wishes were not met, he would lead his mini army to the gates of Moscow. So yeah. So that's basically the start of it. This all happened like last week, like starting like Friday. So let's see. Yeah, Friday. Column of armored vehicles with Wagner soldiers perched on top exited Ukraine. They crossed the international border and trundled serenely towards Rostov-on-Don, a city of more than 1 million people and a busy logistics center for the Ukraine war. No one stopped them. And then that Saturday morning, they both like based themselves as a warlord. And he went to that Russians or the Southern District Military Command, installed himself as the new boss. And and then his mercenary is troops patrolled the streets. Anyway, so then he's while he was doing this, he demanded the defense minister and some guy named Gresimov. Apparently he was a hot dog seller from Leningrad. Huh, interesting. So he said if his wishes weren't met, he'd lead his mercenary group to the gates of Moscow. And apparently he met with the deputy defense minister, Yekorov, and deputy chief of the general staff, Vladimir Alexiev. Gee, why can't all the Russians have that easy name? So this was like the quote unquote first challenge of Putin's authority since he became president. He became president in 2000, or sorry, not president, dictator in 2000. Dear Lord. Okay. Apparently, Putin was really pissed off about it because that 10 a.m. he addressed the nation and was described as white-faced and furious. That's hilarious. So I guess in Moscow they built barricades while they sent armored vehicles to defend the ministries and keep buildings, and sent a bunch of planes. Now, Ukraine intelligence, and we can believe it as far as we want, claims Putin had fled north to his residence near Lake Valade, whatever. And I just don't believe anything I'm reading here. Really, I really don't. I really, really don't. I just. Because here's what happened. All right. So I think this was Sunday that this happened. But at 8 p.m., Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko announced the rebellion was off after negotiations he had brokered, a fact that Yevgeny confirmed soon after in a voice memo. They claim he claimed that he wanted to avoid bloodshed, and they got to within a 2-hour drive of Moscow, but we returned to their field camps in East Ukraine. The Kremlin gave supplementary. Supplementary. Oh no, this was Saturday at 8 p.m. My bad. Supplementary details. Putin's press spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said no one from Wagner would be prosecuted. The mercenary groups could join the regular army or not, and most importantly, Yevgeny would go into exile in Belarus. These conditions seemed astonishingly lenient. Putin has previously jailed opposition leaders for long punitive periods. His critiques have died in mysterious ways. So as they were getting sent off, the young men cheered and broke into chants. Wagner. Took pictures and all that stuff. And then police units arrived, and apparently they were booed. And then Yevgeny is an oligarch and billionaire. And then his crusade against corruption calls for great honesty, having struck a chord in the state characteristic by theft and organized lying. Okay, so look, I'm done kind of reading this, unless I don't believe any of this. I really don't. I think, okay, first off, it doesn't make sense to me why Belarus even was part of a broker. Okay. But let's say, I mean, I don't know the wide spring of Eastern European politics. Um, but anyways, um, first things first, if, I don't see Putin just letting Yevgeny like off like that, like just this like 24 hours of attempted coup, and then they both agreed to, oh, we won't prosecute you. You can go back or not, but you're exiled to Belarus, especially apparently by a guy who not only jailed his previous opposition leaders, but they also ended up dying. So obviously he had him assassinated. So that's weird to me. Another thing that's kind of weird to me is like 24 hours. He gave up for 24 after 24 hours. Like, really? Like, what can this Belarusian president have like said that would make you think, oh yeah, you know what, I give up? Like I could maybe get behind the 5 days, maybe. I think one or two. I don't know. I got a couple things maybe. Like one, they're trying to like garner sympathy on the world stage, and like Putin's like, hey, like, look, I can be a nice guy too. See, I'm letting even a guy that's trying to oppose me and usurp me off with a warning. That could be, say it's a real thing, and then that's why Putin's like, I'll just, whatever. And this guy's also was a friend. Another option is he was Yevgeny was ordered to do this, and then he went to do it, and then he did it, and then Putin's like, all right, we're good. I'm going to let you off with the deal, and I got Belarus to agree to hold you or whatever. And that's why, they gave up after 24 hours. And let's say it's real, then, and Putin decided, oh, I don't want to fight two wars. 2 wars on 2 fronts, a rebellion and Ukraine. I'm just going to pay you getting a decent amount of money and call it good, or probably something. I don't know. That's another possibility. I just don't believe any of this. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm desensitized, because I don't believe anything that they say about the Ukraine war. It's just weird to me. It's really weird to me. And like, especially giving up after 24 hours. That's not a lot of time. You hardly gotten your feet wet. Like, I don't think of any rebellion that's only done 24 hours when they were clearly winning. Like, maybe they started losing really bad. All right, got it. Yeah, I can see giving up then. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was more than likely a staged thing to garner sympathy to Putin for, and showing him being merciful and shit like that. That's what I think is more than likely, but I could be wrong. I'm so tired. I don't think I'm going to stream later. I think I'm just going to sleep for a couple hours. I'll get back to streaming soon, but the last couple days I've just been feeling crap. And so, anyways, that's the oh man, my nose itched. That's the news on the Wagner rebellion. I don't believe it. I don't think anyone believes that this was an actual rebellion. It just was too short. Like, I mean, come on, 24-hour rebellion when they were clearly winning because they took one place, and then they were on their way to take another one, and they were 2 hours away from Moscow. I don't know. I don't believe it. All right, so let's get to this last topic, 'cause then I can go to bed. I'm exhausted as hell. I work too much, guys. All right. So, what the? Okay, that's not that. Okay, that's oh. I know I'm beautiful, but no, that's not. Maryland Supreme Court imposes limits on ballistic evidence used to link guns. Now, for those of you who live under a rock and don't watch TV, there's a thing on TV called bullet matching, and what that means is that if you fire a round from a gun, they can forensically identify, like say you shoot a round from your gun, they say they can forensically identify that particular, as long as the bullet's intact, of course, that bullet, they can match that bullet to the barrel of that gun. It's never really made much sense, but I kind of just went with it because they said it could do it. And then there was something called the Murdaugh trial. Now, he ended up being found guilty, but during that trial, there was, I guess, an expert that that dealt with ballistic evidence, that and bullet matching, all this stuff, which didn't really make sense because one, they didn't have the shotgun that that he fired, and they didn't have the rifle that was fired. Or no, they may have had the shotgun because he had a shotgun with him. So they may have had the shotgun that they used to kill him. But they didn't have the rifle. So I don't know why he was here, because you can't really bullet match a shotgun shell because it doesn't spiral. Okay, so all right, I guess I gotta go back. So in a rifle pistol, there in the barrel, there's like little spirals. If you ever like take one apart and look down, you'll just see like some spirals. That helps the bullet, twist in the gun while it's being fired. That allows it to spin, which allows it to go straight. Old school, back in the day, muskets, it was a smooth barrel, and when you fired, the ball would just launch and it could go anywhere. But with this new technology, there's a spiral in the barrel, and that kind of like makes it drill through the air and allows it to keep basically a more than straight path. Of course, there's physics that are involved that's caused the bullet to eventually, be, drop because of gravity. But basically, okay, but that's all nerdy. But the basics of it is like pistols and rifles, they have spirals. In the barrels, and for the longest time, they've been saying that they could match a bullet from a crime scene to a particular barrel. Now, in the Murdaugh trial, while the guy was testifying, he admitted it's more of an art form. Well, if it's more of an art form, then it's not really real evidence, is it? Because an art form means it can be interpreted in different ways by different people. All right. So, anyways, that's the basics background on it. I'm sure Cato Law or Andrew Bronca are going to do an even bigger deep dive. I know Andrew Bronca have, but I'm just a gun enthusiast, and we will just look this over, and then I can go to bed. In Maryland, firearms experts will no longer be allowed to testify that a specific gun fired a specific bullet. The state highest courts ruled in an opinion published Tuesday. The opinion imposes limits in courtroom on the practice known as firearm tool mark analysis. The forensic technique postulates that machines used to make guns leave tiny imperfections on their components, and that those guns imprint unique marks on ammunition comprised of softer metal when fired. And again, never made sense to me. Until now, it's commonplace for firearms experts it's usually employed in police crime labs to testify that a gun recovered by law enforcement fired a bullet or used casing found at a crime scene if they believe that to be true based on their observation under a microscope. But Four of the seven justices on the Supreme Court found that the scientific methodology is not reliable enough to allow examiners to testify that a particular gun fired a particular bullet. This is what I mean back on the Murdaugh trial, where he says like it's more of an art form, and it's basically, when I was listening to him, it sounded like it was just a bunch of guesswork. That's what it really sounded like to me. And when I thought about it more, it just doesn't make sense because these are machine-made barrels. This is not like this. It would make more sense if it was all hand done. That makes more sense to me because hands are never perfect, like man-made, like by hand. Like if they were like scraping like a hole in the barrel all the time, that wouldn't be as that would make more sense because when stuff is made handmade, it's not perfect. There's always imperfections, but machine mades are designed to make the same thing each and every time. So it doesn't, like, when I thought about it, it doesn't really make sense why a bullet would, why each barrel would be able to would be so different to cause a bullet to prove that it came from that particular gun, because these things are machine made now. Means like, and they're the machines are, unless there's something really wrong with them, they generally will drill it to the same specs every time. So but anyway, yeah, I mean, that's what you would think, right? That's what I think. Is like, if something's done machine made, it's gonna be, and it's used by the exact same machine, then it's gonna come out the same way each time. And if there's really gonna be enough defect that marks the bullet, I don't think the gun's gonna work properly. Okay. Examiners can, however, testify that a pattern and markings on bullets are consistent or inconsistent with those on bullets fired from a particular known firearm. So basically, because the way that works for tool mark and shit like that is like, they'll get a gun at the lab. And mind you, I'm just going off of what I've seen on TV. I'm not gonna lie, and what I think, what I remember from the guy from the Murdaugh trial, because that trial was so boring. Anyways, is they'll take bullet, they'll take an ammunition, generally from the same the same brand and whatnot, and they'll fire into like a sand or water or something, which will preserve the bullet in it, like in the regular shape. They'll fire it, and then they'll take the tool. They'll take the bullet that they fired in the lab, look at it under the microscope, look at the recovered one, and that's how they can say, "Oh, I know this came from this particular gun because the markings match." But now they have to say it's consistent. The patterns and the markings on the bullets are consistent with the ones fired. Those on the bullets fired from this particular firearm. So when they test fire, they can say, "Hey, these markings on the one that committed the crime are consistent with the ones that I tested with the firearm." All right. So the ruling responds to the appeal of a murder case in Prince George County, but all decisions by the state highest courts are binding on lower courts. One of the attorneys behind the appeal, Stanley Reed, described the legal team as very gratified. The Maryland Office of Attorney Generals, which represent the state in the appeal, did not respond to the request for comment on the ruling. With the opinion, Maryland becomes one of the first jurisdictions where an appellate court has recognized shortcoming in forensic practice and imposed limits on its use in court. McKenna Cheyenne, I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name, an associate professor of the University of Maryland Francis King Kerr School of Law, who studies forensic science, said the justice came to the conclusion that scientists, academics, and other serious studying the discipline already have. That conclusions claiming they can say a specific gun fired a specific item of ammunition are simply unreliable. These kind of unreliable conclusions have been central to prosecutors securing countless convictions we should all be questioning now. She said, she successfully argued for one of the first limits placed on firearm analysis in a case from the Superior Court of the District of Columbia, cited in the Maryland appeal. Jeffrey Gilleran, chief of Forensic Division in the Maryland Office of the Public Defender, echoed her comments. For too long has the legal system allowed unvalidated, unreliable methods to be admitted at trial. The opinion is a step in the right direction. We look forward to this type of in-depth analysis for other forensic disciplines. Even those that have been long considered oh, shit. When there's a shooting, police typically cordon off the area with crime scene tape. Crime lab technicians respond to marking. Sorry. Oh, I lost my place. Respond to mark evidence, photograph, and collect. They then take it back to crime lab for further testing. Key among the evidence is usually fired casing. A casing holds a... Okay, well, yeah. I've already explained that. All right. The Association of Firearm Tool Mark Examiners say examiners can declare match when an examiner sees sufficient agreement between the two projectiles. The organization which established standards for the field says agreement between two rounds is significant when a set of markings is of a quantity and quality that the likelihood sorry guys the likelihood another tool could have made the mark is so remote as it's to be considered practically impossible. There are 5 conclusions an examiner can reach. Elimination of a bullet as having been fired from a specific gun, identification of a projectile being fired by that gun, and inconclusive. These are 3 types of inconclusive findings an examiner can cite. One that leans towards excluding a match, one that leans towards a match, and one that represents greater uncertainty. Proponents of the practice says that firearm examiners rarely declare a match incorrectly. But, however, how often examiners' findings are wrong is subject to great dispute. Lawyers on either side of the Prince George appeal point to studies which errors ranges from 0 to 50%. Discrepancies likely has to do with how inclusive findings are counted. Critics say that most firearm analysis studies inconclusive are correct, artificially deflating the error rate. What the fuck? One of the 3 dissenting justices, Stephen B. Gould, wrote that courts shouldn't be worried about inconclusive findings. Our concern is this: when the examiner does declare an identification or eliminations, we want to know how reliable that determination is. The records show that conclusion determinations of either kind, identification or eliminations, are highly reliable. But are they? So that's the big news when it comes to Maryland and maybe eventually other states. It's very interesting. But yeah, I've never, I think I've gone with it like, oh yeah, this is what I've seen on TV. And so it kind of, it made some sort of sense. But when you really think about it, it doesn't really make that much sense. Just like the story. It doesn't really make much sense. I mean, if you just really think about it, I laid out why I don't think it makes sense. But yeah, that's all that I got today. But I thought it was very interesting. Maybe you all thought it was interesting too. Maybe you think I'm an asshole because of Amouranth. I don't care. I'm sure you guys are the Sims anyways. Yeah, but that's all I got. Well, I got a little more time. Oh, another thing I was going to talk about the other day, is Pokemon and Kick. Last week she was asked on a live stream how much would Kick have to pay her to switch. She tried to went on this tangent about morals and ethics, which I found hilarious. I mean, this is a chick that uses her looks and the fact that she's a chick to get Sims to pay her money. Like that's basically her. It's basically her it's basically her source of income is getting Sims to pay her money because she's just a chick. And again, I'm not knocking her for it. I'm sure people, maybe someone's going to comment, "Oh, you're just jealous, etc., etc. You're just some ugly bald dude." I am, but I mean, I'm just breaking it down to what the basis of it is. She's selling her looks and that so-called girlfriend type personality or whatever to lonely dudes that can't get laid. And she's also gotten in trouble a couple times for quote unquote accidentally nip slipping, which her last nip slip was clearly planned. It was 100% planned. How do I know it was planned? Well, first off, she had a goddamn pasty on her tit. Okay, you don't put a pasty on, and it wasn't boob tape to lift her boob. It was pasty. I saw it. It was boob tape. Or it was a pasty. All right, you don't put that on unless you're trying to barely grasp and you're wearing a shirt that is your boob slips out of all the time. It's ridiculous. All right, so it was a clearly planned thing. And I think she got banned and then went on vacation for whatever how long her banning was, and then when she came back, after the controversy, oh look, you got more subscribers because a bunch of other horny dudes are hoping you'll slip your nip again. So don't talk to us about moral and ethics. And again, I have no problem with a woman on here that uses her looks, does bathtubs. This isn't what Pokemon does. At least I don't know. I don't watch her. But I'm just talking in general. But using her looks to get more views from lonely guys. I got no problem with it. Do bathtub streams, do streams with lingerie. I don't care. All right. I probably would do it if I was a chick. All right. I definitely would. But but I get annoyed when people try to act all high and mighty about shit, and they're just as morally corrupt as the rest of us. That's what annoys me the most. I mean, it could have been as simple as no, I got a good thing going with Twitch. I think Twitch is a good place to be. I'm gonna stick with Twitch. Could be nice, but don't try and act like you're high and mighty and better than the rest of us. Yeah. All right, that's all I got. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Go to bed. I don't think I'm gonna do stream my video games. I'm just tired. I'll see how I feel when I get up in a couple hours. Let's see. Got about 5 hours if I go to bed now. I don't know. I'll see. I'll see how I feel when I get up, and we'll go from there. But I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked my wonderful topics. I hope you 100% totally believe in the Russian coup as much as I do, or more than me. Because it definitely happened. Let me rephrase it. Obviously, it happened, but it was definitely real. It was a real thing. All right, it wasn't some fake thing at all. 24 hours and you turn back. Come on, that's bullshit. It's just dumb. Anyways, I hope you liked the video. Make sure to follow me at official W Ghost. You can see it on the banner. Make sure to follow me on my Rumble with Ghost and Gaming with Ghost. Follow me on YouTube with Ghost and my Kick Gaming with Ghost. Yeah, that's my twit. My Kick. My Twitch is Official Gaming with Ghost. I don't know. I'm really just using a bunch of platforms to like garner a bunch of audience. So I have been uploading my videos of gaming on my YouTube, which I think is Official Gaming with Ghost, but it's not really getting many views, so I might just stop because I'm getting views on Rumble and whatnot. And anyways, that's all I got. That's everything. I hope you have a good day, and I'm gonna go to bed. I'm tired. Peace out.